Hey, it's Kayla from Ivory Mix, and you are watching my video all about how to design your pins to get more clicks. These strategies that I'm about to share are the strategies that I use to get click-throughs on my pins every single day. And Pinterest and the pins that I use, they really account for about 60% of the traffic to my website, and I've been able to turn my website and online business into a full-time job. And I couldn't have done that without Pinterest and without getting the clicks. So, without further ado, let's get started. All right, so let's talk about 5 smarter Pinterest pin design ideas to increase your clicks. So it doesn't matter if you're a novice blogger or have been blogging since the internet came on a disc. If you can remember that, then you are as old as I am. The thing is, if you're blogging, then Pinterest is quite probably an integral part of your promoting and marketing schedule. That's why having a distinct and beautiful Pinterest pin style is important, and why you're reading this article or watching this video right now. So, once thought of as another social media platform, Pinterest has turned out to be much more than just social media. Pinterest is more like a visual search engine where individuals are returning to look for content similar to yours. But it's pretty clear that the difference between search engines like Google and this search engine, which is Pinterest, is that a great Pinterest strategy is not only as good as its keywords, but in this case, it really boils down to what your pin looks like. Your Pinterest pin style plays a vital role in the success of your Pinterest strategy. There are multiple characteristics of a Pinterest pin that can make it stand out and be more favorable, and let's face it, get you more clicks. So here is number 1 out of 5. Make those Pinterest pins tall. Pinners and users of Pinterest are drawn to tall pins. Being taller than most pins allows those that are taller to take up more space on the screen when scrolling through Pinterest. A tall pin provides more space for additional things you may want to include on your pin as well, like additional branding, graphics, text, or offers. Pinterest has said that the best size for pins is a 2:3 ratio. So here's an example of different Pinterest pin heights next to each other. You can see I have 3 different heights, and the taller pin would actually fill up the feed as much as possible to as large as 2061 pixels tall. So at this point, you should aim to create a pin as tall as 1100 pixels to 2200 pixels tall. You can use this image as a guide for creating pins. Now you can see on the right-hand side, the 1102 pixel height is the shortest and the 2060 pixel height is the tallest. That particular taller one is the tallest that the feed on a mobile device will allow you to show. Anything taller than 2060 pixels will get cut off on mobile devices, which means you should probably keep your pins to 2060 pixels. So if you're making a pin that has a lot of information like an infographic, you can even make it taller if you need to and if you need that added space. Just know that Pinterest will cut them off in the mobile feed as they've capped that particular height. Your second tip: use stock photos in your Pinterest pin designs. There are 4 basic background alternatives in terms of your Pinterest pin style. You've got pins with white backgrounds, pins with a pattern, stock photos, and a solid color. Those are the basic pin background designs that you can choose from. So if you're an excellent photographer, you'll probably want to use some of your own photos. But even if you are, you might not have all the time in the world to create a unique photo for every single piece of content you want to create. So whether you are or not, over at ivorymix.com, we've got 300 free stock photos you can use from our free stock photo library. If you just go to ivorymix.com/free, pin-stock-photos. So when choosing stock photos, there's a science to choosing images for Pinterest. You want to make sure that these tricks and tips are used when doing your search for stock photos on your Pinterest pins. Look for bright stock images. They're really better for Pinterest, bright colors and light colors. It's been also studied and proven that bright colors, especially red, are attention grabbers on Pinterest. Pins that are vivid and airy are typically less difficult to work with than a busy pin with a wide variety of colors. So when choosing your photos, try to stick with something light, bright, with lots of room. And when picking stock photos for Pinterest, keep away from faces. And choose photos that help your content stand out, not compete with it. Like some of our stock photos seen here, you can see on the right-hand side, the images are smart, simple, and effective. And they can still be stunning and eye-catching on Pinterest, but they give your content and your text a lot of room so that you can create eye-catching pins and really stand out. Also keep in mind that the actual stock photo image size matters. Ensure that the image that you discover or get from any stock photo site is big enough so it doesn't seem blurry or pixelated, which can appear unprofessional on Pinterest. In case you're cropping or zooming in on the photo, be extra cautious or careful, and more importantly than that, be a little bit picky. Don't just settle for the first stock photo that catches your eye. Consider all of the innovative ways that you can actually use the photograph that you've chosen. You can get a larger photo and maybe zoom in on a smaller area of just the coffee mug or an arrangement of flowers. Number 3, brand your Pinterest pins. By creating taller pins, now you'll find that you have a chunk of extra area down at the bottom of your pin to make it yours. Now you get yet another chance to make an impact on your target audience. So use that area at the bottom to place your logo or maybe your mascot or a website link in that area. Utilize the final 50 to 100 pixels at the bottom of your pin to ensure that you include your website name, or maybe even greater than that, your logo. You may additionally inject your logo into your pins through the use of color, overlays, blocks of shade underneath your text, fonts, or even textures of your brand if you have textures or patterns. And what I mean by that is if you have Canva or something that you would use, you could just, create a solid color. And let's say this is your pin and you choose a color that means something to you. And you lighten up that color a little bit. And you want to place your logo just to brand your pin a little bit. Now, here's my logo. I could put it at the bottom, but what I was trying to explain earlier is that you can actually send it behind the color background and even make it transparent. So now it's there. This is a brandable sort of background, but it doesn't overwhelm the design of the pin. And you could get creative if you wanted to, and sort of turn it and do it again. We're just playing around with this here. But if you wanted to create a branded sort of pin or image, consider playing around with your logo on the background. And the point here is that all of this stuff that we've been talking about collectively shapes a branded experience that ultimately helps you stand out on Pinterest in no time. So number 4 of my tips are to craft an easy to read headline. Once you have your ideal stock photo in place and background, it's time to focus on the subsequent most crucial part of your Pinterest pin layout. So whatever you do, you have to ensure that your important text on your pin is straightforward and easy to read. No tiny fonts or fonts that are so scripted that you feel like you need to decode it. Select a font that people will be capable of reading as they quickly scroll on Pinterest and their feed. So, to create some significance and hierarchy, consider the usage of special, slightly unique fonts for certain phrases or words. Like in these examples, important words in these examples are easy to read, but some significance is added to the extra words with special fonts. Like an extra word in the Valentine's stock photo pin is free. I want people to know that this pin is about Valentine's stock photos, but there is a extra word, free. This is a great way of directing people to see exactly what you want them to see when scrolling on Pinterest. It's great to stay with no more than 2 fonts on your Pinterest pin layouts. A font that has a few unique weights, like bold and thin, works nicely because you can mess around with what you need your readers to see right away without the use of various or multiple fonts. So make sure there's sufficient contrast between the background and your text as well. One more tip is a pin that takes an excessive amount of energy to read or examine might get lost in the feed, so make it really simple and give it enough contrast. The 5th and final tip is include a clear call to action. The use of those tall pins that we've been talking about offers you sufficient area to throw a call to action into your Pinterest pin layout. So yay! Use this valuable area and extra area for getting your new Pinterest followers to click even more. For instance, you can see on these next pins we're about to look at, they have a freebie opt-in example on their pin. You can see them there on the right-hand side. This shows us and tells us that there is something free when I click and read it. So if you look at these call to action examples, if I click on them, I will get something free inside. So one of the things that I get asked a lot when it comes to how do I place an image onto my actual pin if my freebie or my opt-in is a PDF. Well, the way that you do that is you use a screen capture software. And so I've actually already done it here, but I've opened up PDF. You'll notice that I've opened up the PDF document, and on Microsoft there is a program called a snipping tool. Now, other computers have other softwares, but if you can take a screen capture of the PDF and save it as a JPEG, that is how you will get a picture of your opt-in onto your pin. So let me show you how you do that using this snipping tool. All you do is you click the new and start in the top right-hand corner with the crosshairs and left click and scroll down to capture an image of the page. And then from there, you can save it as a JPEG. So not only do we get to read and indulge in the excellent written content in an article, but we'll also come away with something free to download, which is a great reason to click on a pin. So if you're wondering what to do next at this point, then I've got a complete and comprehensive 40-page ebook containing way more tips and tricks you can use to grow your Pinterest marketing strategy right away. So if you want that free ebook, you can get it at ivorymix.com/pinbook. All right, so that is it for me today on all of the Pinterest pin design ideas, tips, and tricks. But if you have a specific design question, go ahead and put them in the comments below. If you have a question about your Pinterest pin strategy, you can leave a comment down there below, and I will try to answer them as best as I can and possibly even feature your question in the next tutorial video. So make sure that you visit ivorymix.com for your free stock photos and your free Pinterest strategies ebook. And until next time, I will see you later.